Good morning. Today I'm going to do some gardening. I have my coffee, I have my gloves, so I'm going to get into it. So we're just going to walk around to the back garden here and we're just going to do some weeding. So just coming through the entrance of the garden here. It's a bit messy at the moment. You can see the spinach and the bok choy is going absolutely crazy. But behind me here is where we're going to be gardening today. So this is all completely filled with weeds, and there's some plants I want to get to and access before I reconstruct the garden bed. So I'm just going to bring the camera around this side. So at the moment, the first thing you can see in this garden bed as well is the bok choy that's gone completely to flower. Now there's quite a lot of bees on it at the moment, which is really good to see. This is the first real sunny day we've had in about a week. Up in the hills here it's normally cloudy and rainy, so the bees are happy to be out here now. Behind here is where I want to do most of the work. I've come through and done a little bit through here already, so what was once a nice, well laid out garden is now just a haven for weeds. You can see I can barely even step through here. There's no grasses really, except a little bit through there. It's a couple through here, but it's all mainly just all nasty stuff. So I'm going to go through and try to remove the bulk of this today. So I'm just going to throw the weeds off into a pile. I'm not going to worry about putting them into a bucket or anything like that. I'll start through here, kind of work in a bit of a ring, expose the middle, and then they'll be easier to work on. So there's a couple of plants that I don't want to damage there, whereas this whole section here and through the back is just, well, it's really just dead stuff. Here we go. So I'm just gonna also do a bit of random rambling and chatting through this video, of course. Now, this whole bed that I'm working on here is essentially going to be divided into two down that far side. And the far side is going to be a semi-open garden bed, meaning that it's not going to have much of a cage system protecting it. It will have some chicken wire on the sides like this, but it's going to be open on top, pretty much like this, just a bit smaller over that way. And then where I am now, where I'm sitting here, this side of the bed is all going to be covered cage garden bed, so that'll be where I have my tomatoes and kale and other things that need that protection. And Kenji likes to join me while I'm gardening. He likes to help me dig things out. So in here was a eggplant last summer, and they can go for 2 seasons, but you need to dig them out of the ground in cold climates like this through winter and keep them in a pot, which I didn't do. I don't have a greenhouse yet, which is going to be super essential for where I am. So when I get a greenhouse. I can do those winter indoor grows and preparing plants for summertime, protecting vulnerable plants. But at the moment, it's all just kind of fully seasonal. So whatever I can't grow, just can't grow. Rather than whatever I can't grow out here can grow in a greenhouse. So ideally, we want to get the greenhouse sorted out sooner than later. So as you can already see, there's quite a lot of sticky wanderer through here. We aren't a fan of that stuff. It's a major pest. Have to go through the other side and properly get rid of it. But yeah, it's a proper pest. In my time of working gardening jobs locally, I've spent weeks and weeks and weeks just doing a small section of these sticky wanderers, and you still can't eradicate them. They come back, and they come back, and they just keep coming back. Alright. There's a big thick bit of grass through here. Working gardening jobs is a good way to make money, but I find that I end up wanting to spend more time on the not needed jobs. For example, a lot of the time on blocks I'll see weeding that needs to be done, but that's just not the job that I'm doing that day. It might be a graveling or mulching or something, but sometimes weeding is just the most satisfying thing. So I do like having my own space to come out to and do those kind of mundane activities which have a satisfying outcome. Being out here and not looking at a phone, not talking to people, although right now I'm talking to all of you guys. But yeah, just having that singular engagement, that singular involvement with what I'm doing. It's therapeutic. Are you ready? No, not right now. I know. We're not playing right now, mate. So through here there's a lot of thick oxalis, also called clover, but the type we get here in South Australia is an oxalis, a non-native oxalis, I should say, invasive, and it is a pest. Some of them can root really far down into the ground, which makes it quite tricky to sift out. just change up the angle here so it's a bit easier to see. So this is basically where I got up to last time I waited. So all of what I just pulled out has grown back in quite literally a couple of weeks, which is nutty. But I haven't put any effort into mulching or maintaining the weeds here, except for one very light weeding that I did last week. Oh, sorry, a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of this here is just grasses, which is pretty easy because I can just pull out the roots, and it's got a bit of a soil bulb attached, which is totally fine for me to pull out. That soil's been somewhat depleted of nutrients once it's had the grass roots growing through it, or at least so I believe. I might be wrong with that one, but I don't really mind. I've got so much compost and mulch and soil on the way all the time that I don't have to buy soil bags or anything, so I just don't have to be precious about the earth that I'm using because it's plentiful and rich. I'm very, very lucky for it. But I guess that's a pro of living in a relatively wet and cold climate up in the hills here. So we've got a bit of an elevation and we're relatively close to the ocean developments, the current developments just off of the oceans in the south below us, and then that just travels up the hills, develops into lots of rain, lots of cool fronts. And we got the Antarctic oceans below us. So there's nothing separating where I am with Antarctica except for a couple of islands. One that's a relatively large island, Kangaroo Island. The most Australian name ever, Kangaroo Island. And surprisingly, not that many kangaroos there. It's more of a wallaby habitat than kangaroos. Wallabies are like basically small kangaroos. They're a pretty different animal relatively, but they look basically the same. They got the same sort of operating jumping system and stuff, but well, actually that's one of the differences. Kangaroos are much faster, bigger jumpers. Wallabies are a lot more kind of groundhogs, I guess. And I might even be wrong about that, but that's my memory of Australian wildlife from my past kicking in there. So if that's wrong, whoops, probably learnt something wrong. But yeah, it gets pretty cold here. That's what I was trying to say. It gets pretty dry cold in the air, even if it might be raining, it doesn't get super humid. It stays very, very dry and crisp. Yeah, really, even if it's raining, it's very strange. If it's a rainy night outside and I open up my window, I still feel sharp cold, so sharp dry cold. It's very interesting. I don't know, maybe lots of places are like that as well. Oops, I started doing a little part. I want me to do that yet. Right, I'm gonna wrap around that edge there. Okay, so I'm just going to pull out these large weeds first. These can be just really easy to pull out. They leave the ground super soft under them. They must really deplete the soil. At least it feels like it. I just want to talk about gloves actually for a second. I wasn't using gloves in summertime for anything outdoors, and I thought that I was going to get really strong skin and strong hands and, toughen up. But what ended up happening is I got a skin condition on my finger. It's kind of like an eczema or psoriasis. Like 2 in 1. Basically, it makes it so I get like little bumps on my finger, and they can turn into blisters. When it first happened, my whole finger just erupted in blisters, like bubble blisters, and I couldn't work out why. And once those blisters wear off and subside, then it just leaves the skin really, really weak, and even the smallest scratch can feel like you're cutting your finger open, which is really weird. It just like hurts heaps. Don't know what's up there, but I'm assuming it's because the skin's just got, all the layers underneath are still healing, and even the surface itself can be completely rashed up and breaking away. So it all makes sense. But I was talking to the doctor about it a month or 2 ago, and they basically said I've developed like an allergy to things like ivy and lots of grasses and weeds, just from exposing my skin to them too much. So it turns out you should probably just use gardening gloves. And honestly, since I started using them, I found it a lot easier. I didn't like the grip of normal gardening gloves, but I found that leather gloves are a lot easier to work with for me at least. Just want to show you some of the wormies I've been finding in here as well. Don't know how well you can see that. That's a nice juicy worm. picked up more worms when I picked up the ground. We love having lots of worms in the garden. They are what feed the plants. They also feed on the plants, on the roots and stuff underground, but they give so much fresh nutrients for the soil and for the plants. So the more worms you find in your garden, the better. Well, depends on the type of worm. Earthworms are what I'm regarding. Alright. Getting through the big ones now. It's quite a bit quicker than I thought it would be getting through these. Right now I've gone up to the large parsley bush in here. I've already accepted that I'm going to accidentally rip out a lot of it. It's gotten so big that it's going to need a prune anyways, so might as well just go for it. But I'm going to try to get out these. Big weeds first. Wow. I have to bring the camera around to show the bottom of this parsley bush because that's huge. Oh. The camera moved. Just to show you. Here, all of this stem is for the parsley. It's absolutely enormous now. Once I go through and get rid of all the weeds from around it, we'll be able to see just how enormous it is too. This in the middle, if you couldn't tell already, is also parsley. This is the finer leaf stuff compared to this large leaf parsley. You can see we're getting pretty well through it, so I'll just keep chipping away here. Be able to see some results in a sec. So I am going to be reconstructing this whole area, like I have briefly mentioned so far. And the parsley plants and a couple of the other things growing through, like the silver beet, mainly silver beet and parsley and thyme. I want to save them and replant them into other spots or back into these garden areas once I'm finished. So I'm just trying to get through to them so that we can have some space to work with. These weeds are definitely going to come back in summertime. Sorry, not summertime. They'll die back in some time, but they're definitely going to come back next winter. That's what I meant to say. So I'm going to have to put some effort in next season just to keeping the weeds down regularly, week by week. Alright, here comes the big tower now. Take this one out first. This is the big one. Wow, that came out so smoothly. Look at that. That's a tall weed. Get rid of that one. Here's another big one. Just chuck some of these over on this side. Alright. Now it looks like a lot of the weeds through here might actually be on the other side, so I'm going to kind of just pull them through. See if I can find the roots. Yeah, it looks like I'll almost all coming down here. Yeah, wow. This whole side's going to need some work. Bring the camera around so you can see this as well. Oops. Hey, Kenji. There's a lot of rocks on the ground through here as well. So just trying to. Whoa! Hello. Come here. There you go. Sit. Sit. Stay. Kenji. Sit. 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 Kenji, sit. Hey. Good boy. Stay there. Jeez. Gave me a bit of a surprise attack. Yeah, a lot of the weeds are going through the rocks out the ground here. And they can get a little bit intricate. So I just want to make sure I get them all out right now before they're all too big. Just start to work on it all. And there we go. That's a big thing of weeds. There's a couple of main roads near me. I say main roads, but not that busy. They're still single lane roads, but it's the main pathway for ambulances and emergency services. So the only downside about doing these outdoor videos is sometimes you hear those sirens, but to be honest, it's pretty rare. Right. Let's get these ones through here as well. This whole fence is going to get chopped down very soon, so I don't care that it's bending and breaking. Hey, Papa. Will that do for now? Is that enough for now? Oh yeah, that's enough, isn't it? That's enough, isn't it? Alright, now, just moving over a little bit. I'm just going to finish up through there. And then it's basically the bed done for now. But yeah, I'll do some more through here and then give you a little quick look over and show you a little bit of the garden as well. Yeah, the rest of the garden. I know, Kenji. You must see the neighbours. He loves to bark at our old neighbours. This old couple that's always out gardening as well. He'll run over and it's pretty cute. They don't mind. Kenji, away from my coffee. Oh, he's so gonna knock that over. Kenji, come here. Good boy. I guess not. That's good. All right. Trying to get more bands in to record at the moment. I spent a lot of this year upgrading the studio, kind of just aesthetically as well as functionally. I think it's at quite a good place now. I feel very confident to show it off and call it my studio. So yeah, I've been putting the word out to local bands in my area, but so far it's been a little bit slow. That's okay. These sort of things take a while to take off. It never works out straight away for anyone, and when it does, it's always short-lived. At least in my experience of life, seeing people with success. So we'll get there. It'll be very worth it once we do. But I'll be honest with you guys, I tried doing a new job about a week or two ago. Can't remember if I've already told you or not. In a whispering video or something maybe, but yeah, I tried doing this job it was a outdoor landscape labour assistant job like I've done in the past. But this one was even cooler. This was involving like tree cutting and working on really, really big, rich properties local to where I live, as opposed to having to drive a long way away. And the team was really nice. Everything was perfect, and I worked one day there. It was a 9-hour shift, and I got like a lot of money for it. And the thought of working there long term was actually really good. And that money, that was motivating. But there were moments in the shift where I just kept getting this feeling and I couldn't quite work out what it was. And I always get it when I work something I know I don't really like, or don't feel sustainable in, or isn't as much of a want as something else I want to do. And I wasn't able to wake up for the second shift. I slept through it. I wasn't able to get my brain to wake up. I couldn't find my brain wasn't even registering what was going on. It was just like, no sleep. And I woke up later, and I told them what happened, and they were like, yeah, but sorry, we can't have someone unreliable on the team. I was like, yeah, of course, fair enough. But I started analysing the feeling and thinking about it, and it wasn't something I really wanted to be doing compared to what I could do if I really pushed myself for it, which is doing music for a living. And that's what I want to do. That's what I really want. And I'm not gonna, so far I haven't been happy doing anything else for a living, except for ASMR when it's been at its peak. And that is what it is. I don't know. ASMR is difficult. It's not reliable view-wise. And whenever I start to consider it work, I grow sick of it. I always like to use it as a hobby, to escape what else is going on in my life. And I think that's when it resonates the best with you guys as well, because we're all going to escape our lives together in a place. So if I'm in a similar, headspace in that moment in time, I think it's easier for us all to connect. And but music for me is something that whenever I've considered it work, I've enjoyed it, and it's made me feel successful. It's made me feel like the person I want to be. Like when I used to have winery and wedding gigs. When I say winery gigs, I mean playing acoustic music at wineries and singing. Same with wedding gigs and birthday party gigs, and dressing up nicely, playing a bunch of songs people like, and getting paid good money for it. Like for me, that's the dream right there. And if in a band setting that can go even further to touring or whatever, well, that's just that'd be the best thing ever, but my goal is to make money doing music, so I'm trying to figure out as many pathways with that as I can at the moment, as many as possible, thinking it could be tour, it could be just mixing bands at a really, really high level in the studio, upgrading studio to be a proper established place somewhere else away from home, or even just like a big building out the back. That's a bit more set up for general band recordings. Anyway, it could be that, or it could be doing more gigs. It could be something I haven't even thought about, I could manage bands one day for live shows or tours, or I could do music videos, whatever it might be. You know, even one day mentor younger musicians, even though that might not be like a paid thing, but you know, if I get I could do a Simon Cowell and accidentally put together a one-hit wonder band. Not one-hit wonder band, massive hits, but you know what I'm saying. Make my own One Direction, even though I didn't really like that music when I was younger, but gosh, that sort of success is insane. But no, we're just talking about random things here now. At the end of the day, I'm just keen to do some music for money, or for a living. I'm keen to do music for my living. That's more than enough rambling about myself for today. Let's go have a look at the garden. So I've now gone through and made that fairly weed free. There's still a bit that could be done, but it's pretty good now. I'll just quickly come around here so you can see how the rest of the garden's been looking. Obviously that's what I just took out of there. It's looking a bit neater now. Just need to work on this whole garden section here. But I'm pretty happy with that. We've come a good way today. There's still work that can be done, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I reckon we'll just head over this way for our finishing part of the video. So yeah, that's it for today. It's been a perfectly sunny day for this kind of thing, which is nice. Now, I hope that these gardening videos are entertaining for you guys. I'm trying to get some better structure to them. In future, I'll put a lot more focus into editing and sectioning out the structure of the videos. I feel like as I have more specific jobs that I do in the garden, that'll also help. I think what I'll do is continue for a few episodes doing these little gardening episodes, just weeding or setting up a garden bed or whatever, and then at the end of the year, maybe in November or December, I'll do a proper general tour video that can be a bit more cinematic, a little bit more dedicated to each section throughout an entire video, while having, dialogue that isn't quite as randomly scattered around. But that's enough complaining about it. I think that this has been a good day. I hope that you have enjoyed this as well. I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine. So I'll see you guys again soon. The next video that I'll be putting out for y'all will be that garden bed, making it disassembling the old one and putting in some new plants as well. So the cactus says goodbye. Kenji says goodnight. And I say I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.